All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ETV Live, broadcasting the SSCA Simulated Sports Car and Associates. Tonight we're at WatkinsGlenn. 35 laps on the board here tonight. Local cautions are on, but they told them other flagmen, hey, take the night off. Working the booth with me tonight, Sean Petchin from OpenPaddock.net. Matt Close will be along just a little bit later on. Of course, John Wessling, Magic Fingers, he'll be pushing buttons, bringing you all the action from flag to flag on that outstanding camera coverage here tonight. WatkinsGlenn, 35 laps. But, Sean, let's talk about last week here for just a minute. We were at Kentucky Speedway with these boys. 120 laps. We had 4 cautions. A few of them seemed to be a little bit of an electrical problem. 7 lead changes. But I think the biggest story of the night was Jeremy Poole, Ted Severance, and I believe it was John G. Hill in the last 5 laps.
Yeah, it was actually a really fantastic race. Jeremy Poole dominated the race the whole time, really set the tone. He also had his teammate right behind him for most of the race, and then that being Terry Mathinson. And at the end of the race, as Kentucky can often do, provides a couple interesting fuel strategies, and Jeremy Poole was able to actually capitalize on the last lap by overtaking John G. Hill as he was sputtering out of gas. So it was really a fantastic race and something that we've come to know Kentucky for all too well, and it does produce a fantastic show.
And Jeremy Poole sitting on the top of the board and just about everything you look at here. Why don't we go ahead and take him down through the points. Let's let him know where the teams stand. We'll take you down the top 5.
Yeah, well, we've got Poke Slow, that being Jeremy Poole and Mr. Mathinson's team. Second is the V Apex, that being the red team, actually, my fault. Third is Slipstream Racing. Fourth is the second Slowpoke team. And fifth is V Apex Racing Black. So that is your top 5. And given it's only a few races in, it's still all to play for. But the red team, as is always the case in IndyCar, is putting on a great show and putting up great points.
Outstanding, and I'll tell you what, let's take him on down through the driver points. Like I said before, Jeremy Poole, he seems to be the class act around here, Cowboy. He's in the top seat here. He's driving for Poke Slow. Of course, Jeremy won that race at Kentucky last week. He's at the top of the pile here tonight, driving for Slipstream and finishing 6th at Kentucky last week. Jacob Dismaris, he's only 1 point off the top there, so it could be a huge points night as far as independent the individual driver points go here tonight for Jacob. Jacob, one of the favorites here tonight as well. Driving for the Vapex Red team and finishing 7th last week, Nick Leap. Nick Leap is another one they tell us to look out for here tonight, 14 points behind the leader. And finishing 3rd last week, Eric Davis, not listed on a team here yet. He's 18 points behind the leader. In 5th position, Carlos Passos. Carlos putting on a pretty decent performance last week at Kentucky. Carlos finishing in 10th position last week. Good top 10 finish. He's 30 points behind the leader here tonight in the individual points. Brad Sanford, teamless, finishing 2nd last week at Kentucky. Good effort from Brad, 32 points in behind Jeremy Poole in the overall here. In 7th position, John G. Hill, like we said, big story here tonight. Almost had it in the bag last week, Cowboy. Just missed it by about 500 yards. Driving for Vapex Blacks, wound up finishing outside the top 10 and 12, 36 points behind the leader here tonight. Rob Unglenkus, he's 37 points behind the lead in 8th position. He finished 4th last week driving for Team Bueno, and Team No Bueno, rather. Ted Severance in 9th. He drives for the Vapex White team, finishing 8th. Good top 10 finish for him. 37 points behind the lead as well. Rob Unglenkus and Ted Severance sharing that seat here tonight, so looking for a points battle between those guys. Rounding out your top 10 is going to be Tim Miller, 39 points behind the leader. He's also listed as teamless. He finished just outside the top 10 and 11th last week at Kentucky. So I'll tell you what, we got a couple of points battles going on here. I would say from about 10th all the way up to about 7th position. John Hill, Robin Glenkus, Ted Severance, and Tim Miller they're all only about 2 points apart from one another. So could be a huge points night as far as the individuals go tonight, Sean.
Yeah, anytime you can get to tracks like you switch from the oval racing to these road races where it takes a lot of work to get the setup right, and sometimes a team just can't come together and put together the best setup. So some of these individual guys may really put on a hell of a show and establish themselves as contenders with these road courses.
You bet. And I'll tell you what, it's time to take it down trackside. The Cactus Cuties present our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Gentlemen, start your engines!
All right. Welcome back to WatkinsGlenn up here in WatkinsGlenn, New York. And thank you very much to the Cactus Cuties, one of the most beautiful renditions of the national anthem that I've ever heard. And looking down the qualifying run here tonight, guys, and Sean, we're talking about a 4-second spread here from top to bottom. Jacob Dismaris qualifying in on the pole here tonight with a 1 minute 6:14 or 1 minute 30:6:14, and the last qualifier in 20th position with a 34:6:49. So good spread here as far as qualifying.
Yeah, real typical road racing here. It really can spread out, unlike those ovals that you guys are always covering, where you're, especially in the Indy cars, where you're pedal to the floor the whole time. This is all about braking, all about turning and hitting your marks and carrying the momentum. And for some, it comes obviously a little bit easier than others. So.
You bet. Jacob Dismaris qualifying on the pole here tonight, running in second. Is going to be Nick Leap in that number 97 machine. Qualifying third tonight on the outside, Yerman Affendor in that 15 car. In the 66 car, qualifying fourth, Michael Du-Temple. Carlos Passos qualifying in fifth position in that number 2 machine. Ted Severns in sixth position in that number 32 car. In the 55 car in seventh position, Russell Clayson. Chad Peterson qualified in on the 8th position here in that number 12 car. Jeremy Poole, who took the trophy home last week at Kentucky and is your individual points leader, driving for the number 1 team here tonight, qualifying just inside the top 10 in 9th. And in 10th, John G. Hill, who brought drama to the track last week.
Yeah, that he did. Starting P11 is the number 68 of Javier Torres. P12, number 19, Tim Miller, putting in a 132.541. 13th place is going to be the number 53 of Rod Glenk. He's going to be mad at me. P14 is the number 3, Andy Banfield. Number 15, number 8, Terry Matheson, who ran so well just a week ago. Number P16 will be number 13, J.C. Arnold. 17th will be the 16 car of Josh Hammett. Brad Sanford in the 09 will roll off 18th. 19th, Aaron Reinold at 134.370. And rounding out the field will be Rob Whitmore in the number 70, starting P20 at a time of 134.649.
And John Alez starting 21st here tonight, who did not qualify in, going to start on the tail end of the field here tonight. But let's talk about pit stops here. They're telling me anywhere from 18 to 25 laps for a pit stop. These cars get about 1 gallon per lap. So that's roughly what I believe about 3.5 miles or so. 22-gallon tank here tonight, 35 laps. So we're looking at least one pit stop for these guys here tonight at WatkinsGlenn. Drivers to look out for: Jacob Dismaris, Nick Leap, Yorman Affendor, Chad Peterson, Carlos Passos, and Mike Dutempo. These are guys, in the NASCAR world, they call these guys the ringers, Cowboy. These are the boys that are pretty much experts at road racing. So this is their track here tonight. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be an exciting night for sure. The boot tonight, the extended track, I guess you call it. Unlike the NASCAR circuit, Sean, this track is running the boot. Dangerous turn coming up on, you call it the NASCAR turn, I call it the heel. After you come down the boot, you got that sharp right-hand turn, I believe it is.
Yeah, one of the problems that these drivers are going to have to watch out for, and we've seen it in all classes and all types of cars, is that the Indy cars, when they come out of that extra boot section and back onto NASCAR proper, which is why I call it the NASCAR corner, that is a really weird transition for any race car, and getting on the power too heavy through that section will easily put these open wheel cars around in a spin and potentially collecting more cars. And so you're really going to want to be careful coming around and transitioning back onto the to the circuit as you head into the last section of the track.
You bet. And Matt Close will be joining us here just shortly. Matt Close, of course, you heard him last week. He was giving us a hand down in the pits as well as helping us call the race last week. So he should be along here shortly as we get ready to go green flag here at WatkinsGlenn. And we are green flag at WatkinsGlenn. Jacob Dismaris gets off to a huge jump up here. Nick Leap in the 97 machine follows right in behind here, going down into turn 1. Oh, almost getting out of shape. Nick Leap right off the get-go here. Can't get through turn 1 without breaking loose a little bit, but then Nick Leap, it looked like an early trouble.
Yeah, that turn 1 is so tight, that real tight first right-hander. You got to be careful, because if you go in there, everybody's going to pile down in there, and that's always recipe for collection in turn 1.
And then through what used to be called the bus stop, I guess they call that the inner loop now. Usually we see NASCAR drivers take those rumble strips that are pretty good hop. These Indy cars, you gotta stay off that rumble strip, keep it on the pavement here at WatkinsGlenn.
Yeah, you don't want to get all over those rumble strips. It's going to cause the car to bounce a lot. They're pretty formidable rumble strips here and can be quite slick. So you're going to want to make sure to try and use as little as you can, unless you've just got that setup where you can, put it over the rumble strips and use all the curb.
You bet. So far, so good. Pretty much single file. Not really any battles happening here yet, as they put the first lap in the books here at WatkinsGlenn. I don't imagine that battle will come until a little bit later on. Josh Hammett back here in 16th position in the 16 car. Looked like he was going to be challenged by Terry Matheson. We saw Matheson come alive in the first part of the race at Kentucky Speedway last week. Coming down the front stretch, across the start-finish line, Matheson chasing down Josh Hammett up there in 15th.
Yeah, it looks like Matt Vinson really is going to want to try to move through the field to capitalize on the week that he had last week. But he's got some work to do, and these road racers up front are going to make it really difficult for him to secure a podium position. And Jacob Dumaris is showing that right now, as he has just left the field behind. Everybody else left to fight it out, honestly. But yeah, great battles through the mid-pack for sure.
And Yerman Affendor in that 15 car, who qualified in third, already worked up into second place. Yerman Affendor in that number 15 car, now in second place. He led, he was having a good night last week at Kentucky. He led, I believe, 89 or 89. He led 14 laps at Kentucky Speedway last week, Sean. Looked like he was going to have a good night. Unfortunately, got caught up on one of the 4 cautions right around lap 89 last week. Pretty much ended his night. But Yerman Affendor certainly looked like a contender at Kentucky last week. Looking pretty good here tonight at WatkinsGlenn.
Yeah, Yerman's the guy that you really want to have for your IndyCar team, where looks like he is quite proficient at both the oval and the road racing aspect of the sport, and that's what you want, is just that complete driver. Now, obviously, Yerman kind of adopted a slightly different strategy last week, but he is certainly, he got kind of caught out by that accident, but he certainly is one of the better drivers, I think, in the series, and he was my pick to win the race tonight. But Jacob Demaris, man, he's just like checked out.
And back here in 17th position, Brad Sanford just went around Aaron Reinhold for position here about a half a lap ago. So it's like Brad Sanford is on his way forward as well.
Yeah, one of the things I really like about this particular track here at WatkinsGlenn with the boot is, unlike some road courses like what we see at Mid-Ohio, for example, it's very momentum-based, very flowing, very fast. What WatkinsGlenn offers is a very fast race course because of the straightaways and the bus stop S's there. But it does offer quite a few opportunities for drivers to overtake, and that is why WatkinsGlenn is one of my favorite road courses to race when I am on the sim. And it just really allows you to take those opportunities and really put it to the floor.
Watching back here in 8th position, the number 12 car, it's going to be Chad Peterson back here. I was told during down in the garage tonight, Chad Peterson, I believe this is his first race with these guys, but looks like he may be having some trouble getting through the turn. He's got a couple of cars. In fact, he's got Ted Severance out in front of him, as well as Russell Clayson, and he can pull up on the straightaways. However, looks like he may be having some difficulty maneuvering through the turns in order to carry enough speed to stay right with the 2 cars in front of him. But Chad Peterson doing fairly well back here, at least a top 10 position sitting here at 8th.
Yeah, it looks like Chad's got a nice fast hot rod there on the straightaways, but one of the issues he is having is through the corners, and that could be a number of things. It could be a suspension issue, or it could be an aero issue. It depends on what he's got, what kind of downforce level he's looking to get. Obviously, like I said, WatkinsGlenn has a straightaway run through the S's, the long front straightaway. I mean, it's just got it's a very fast course, and so he may have opted to run a slightly less downforce than what his fellow competitors are, and that is causing some issues for him working around traffic through the corners in the overtake areas.
And in fact, Ted Severance just backed off, gave him the position. So Ted Severance, I think he did that on purpose. It didn't look like Chad Peterson was putting any pressure on Severance at all. But Severance giving up position, falling back into 6th position.
Oh, we've got a car in the Armco. Looks like it's Chad Peterson, actually.
Oh, Chad Peterson are in trouble, guys.
Yeah, it looks like he just lost it there. I mean, I was watching him as we were talking about him, and he came up onto that transition area that I was talking about. The car got squirrely, and he went nose first in the Armco. His day is surely going to be done after that impact. But that just really underscores the importance of getting back onto that straightaway in the last section of the course as careful as you can, because if you're not careful and you get too much power, that is exactly what will happen to you.
and Ted Severance just gave him the position too. So what an unlucky event for Chad Peterson here at WatkinsGlenn. As you can see, he takes a pretty hard hit into that wall, but Chad working his way down pit road right now. It's unaware whether they're going to be able to get anything fixed up on that car, get him back out on the track or not. We'll keep an eye on that situation. Still holding down the Ford out here in front. Jacob Desmaris looking pretty good in that number 21 machine with Nick Leap. Nick Leap now in second position here. Yerman Affendor now back in third position. That's where he started here tonight. So Yerman Affendor could be a contender here tonight, along with Nick Leap. Chad Peterson, of course, he's out now, but Carlos Passos. Let's take a check on Carlos Passos here tonight. He's running in fourth position in that number 2 car. Looks like he just kind of along for a Sunday drive here. Still early in the race, 5 laps in, so not a whole lot of pressure. Good top 5 position right here for now. But you know, if this thing is indicative of you know, what we see on the NASCAR side of the house, Sean, this thing isn't going to pick up until probably the last 10-15 laps.
Yeah, and one of the things with the road racing that you have to be careful with is, you know, you've got a long time, but you don't want to get too far back. You don't want to, unlike, you know, oval racing, where, you know, you fall mid-pack, you run, you know, maybe a few seconds off, you know, and then you can catch up, or you have cautions. Here we don't have cautions, and there's not really a way for the field to really group up together, so you really don't want to wait too much and lose too much time. But you're right, it is early, and you want to get the tires nice and worn, nice and you know, up to temperature, and then after that you can you know, really start to push, especially here at the Glen, because I love to lean on the tires here at the Glen and really try to push as fast, you know, as fast as I can once the tires are nice and up to temperature. Because here with cold tires, or with you know, if the car's not the way you want it to and you push too hard and the tires aren't there for you, then you're going to have a problem. So he needs to keep a good pace and try to stay as close as he can, but at the same point in time, if he's comfortable at this pace and you know, isn't going to lose too much more time, then he could be very well just kind of hanging back saying, you know what, I'll wait till pit stops happen, shake it down, and then on the last section of the race, I'm really going to go after it.
You got 6 laps in the books here at WatkinsGlenn, up here in WatkinsGlenn, New York. Why don't we go ahead and step away? We'll take our first commercial break tonight. You're watching it live, ETV Live, Cowboy. It's the only choice, so don't wander off. We'll be right back. Hey, JD here with ETV Live, and let me tell you something. If it's too big for the pickup truck and you need to move it, there's only one trucking company you need to call, and don't bother with the Yellow Pages, Cowboy. I'll give you that number in a minute. Manufactured goods, automotive, technical equipment, furniture, even if you need a reefer, Gary Mercer Trucking Incorporated is the only choice, Cowboy. With locations in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, Rancho Cucamonga, California, if you need to move it, store it, and keep it cold, you need to call Gary Mercer Trucking Incorporated. Long haul, short haul, or just across town, Gary Mercer has the best trained and qualified drivers to get your load from point A to point B with professionalism and on time. So remember, Hoss, if it don't fit in a pickup truck, you're going to need a real truck, Cowboy. Sponsors of ETV Live's Friday Night Showdown, Gary Mercer Trucking Incorporated, 1-800-668-2980. All right, and we are back at WatkinsGlenn, keeping an eye on the leaders up here. Nick Leap is just absolutely all over the back end of the 21 machine. That's going to be Jacob Dusmaris up here, starting on the pole here tonight. Nick Leap is just, he's been peeking around, Sean, taking a look-see, just rolling up on the back bumper, making sure that Dusmaris is looking back in the mirror and saying, hey, beep, beep, cowboy, here I am. And not putting a whole lot of pressure on, but just kind of rolls up and says, hey, cowboy, I'm here.
What are these bumpers you speak of, JD?
Well,
I'm just kidding.
You know those things those big wide things that are on the front of them cars up there in the front.
I see. Okay. Yeah, right now the lead is getting good, and it looks like Leap's gonna. Ooh, he's looking like he's gonna challenge through the S's. Leap is all over the back of Dusmaris. I don't know where this came from. It looked like Dusmaris had a healthy lead, but Leap is just absolutely just putting the heat on Dusmaris at the moment, looking around at every corner, letting Dusmaris know that he is there. And I've been watching Leap and Dusmaris going into the corners, and Leap is really outbraking Dusmaris through most of these corners. Now, where that can be a problem is, you don't want to push too hard and wear your tires and have nothing left. It could be that Dusmaris is just pacing himself, but I'm telling you, at the moment, this lead is hot, and Leap is just all over the back of the leader, Dusmaris.
You bet. Taking a look on the inside here, almost, but not quite. Again, I think he's just, going after it again. Gets a good run off the turn as Leap on the inside here. He's going to chase him down. He's going for the pass right here, coming off the turn. Side by side.
What happened is he didn't make the pass, and he lost that inside lane going into the final quarter, running down the straightaway. But they're still side by side going into turn one.
Side by side into turn one, and Dusmaris is going to have the advantage on the inside. Leap's got to get out of the throttle just a little bit more. Cowboy up on the outside, going to give it up here. Now about 2 car lengths behind, but Nick Leap absolutely chasing down Dusmaris up here for the lead. Real quickly here, as we do always, let's keep it. Here we go again. Leap looking on the outside of Dusmaris. Dusmaris slams the door shut, going into the what we call the bus stop in my day. But can't get the job done. Has to fall back in behind Dusmaris again. So Leap absolutely putting the pressure on up here, trying to get that lead. 10 laps in the books here at WatkinsGlenn. Real quick, want to check over here in the chat room. Say good evening to Brian Barden, Detho something or other. I don't know who that is, but glad you're along for the ride here tonight. ETV Bill, I tell you what, ain't no better camera technologist than the ETV Bill, who builds all of our cameras for us, custom-built cameras. And Keith Brooks Jr. in the house. Keith Brooks Jr. from Real Sim Racing. Monday nights, you can catch that at 9:30 right here live on ETV Live. Glad you cowboys along for the ride here tonight at WatkinsGlenn, New York. Up here watching Nick Leap chase down Dusmaris. We had Jacob Dusmaris up here in the front. Dusmaris qualified on the pole. Nick Leap right beside him up here. Yerman Affendor, let's go back a couple of notches here. He's watching all that take place out in front of him. Yeah, Affendor in 3rd position here. But Affendor looks like he's closing the distance on the leaders up there as well. So when those guys keep monkeying around up there, that's going to give Yerman Affendor an opportunity just to roll up just a little bit closer.
Yeah, Yerman just going to be sitting back and watch these two. These two have already made some really questionable moves going into some of these breaking points. I wouldn't be surprised if the two come together as Leap gets a good run. Dusmaris is going to have to watch for some blocking here, because I seen as they went into the bus stop there, he was on the inside line and then started to move over across the track. You want to be careful with blocking, especially going into an area like that. Pick a lane, stick with it, and it looks like he moved over just a little bit, so he's going to want to watch that for sure. But yeah, Yerman, he's the guy who could really seize the moment and take the win if these two come together, because right now they're just like knife fight in a phone booth.
And then back and forth position in the number 2 car, guys. Carlos Passos, he was set to be another threat here at WatkinsGlenn. He's having a pretty decent night here with 11 laps in the books here at WatkinsGlenn already. But let's go back and check on John G. Hill. He's still running inside the top 10 in that number 80 machine in 8th position. John G. Hill, remember, he had a shot at the trophy last week. Couldn't take it home with him. 400 yards from the start. Runs out of fuel, turns it over to Poole, Jeremy Poole who is 1 lap down here tonight, guys, running back here in 20th position. So this is our pole, our points leader here tonight. Not only is he overall points, but he's also on the team, Poke Slow, and that team is the points leader, has the team points here with the SSCA tonight. So Jeremy Poole, I'll have to go back and see what happened to him, but not having the night that he wanted to have for sure. 1 lap down.
Yeah, he is 1 lap down, and I don't think, given the times, that they're going to be. What I think may have happened is he may have made a pit stop and gambled to make it the rest of the way. Maybe, I'm not sure, but I know that he's not going that slow where he should be a lap down out of the gate like that. Especially given his qualifying time was only about a second off of what Desmaris's time was. So he may have made a pit stop somewhere that we didn't catch, and he may be trying to plan to either do 2 stops and try to keep it, or if he's just going to try to go all the way. I don't know, but it's certainly he shouldn't be a lap down because of pace.
And looking through the statistics here, guys, Jeremy Poole actually pitted on lap 4. So something had to have happened to that machine of his. That's way too early to be pitting here. They're telling us about 25 laps, probably 25 laps pushing it here tonight as far as fuel goes, Sean. So pitting on lap 4 isn't going to quite cut it, I don't believe, unless we're looking at possibly another fuel mileage game here. Who knows?
Nah, he may have actually just had contact with another car and had a bent wing or something like that and came in to get it fixed. Once these wings, even on the road courses, start to bend and get broke, it's gonna affect the handling of the car, and you're gonna want to stop and get that fixed. So that could have been what happened, because at 4 laps you're still gonna be running with a lot of the traffic.
Yeah, I've pulled it up on my machine here. I'm going to go ahead and roll it backwards here and see if I can't determine what happened to Jeremy Poole here at WatkinsGlenn.
Yeah, as we look here at the front, nothing much happening at the front as Desmaris has opened up a little bit there, but it looks like Yerman Affendor has moved into the 2nd position. Yeah, as Nick Lieb has fallen back a couple spots. Again, he may have run those tires off just a little bit there, battling with our leader Desmaris, and has had to take a back seat. But Yerman Affendor is back as P2 now at the moment.
And Sean, I just found out what happened to Jeremy Poole. This is going to be back on lap 4. Major electrical problems with that car. Had to pull it behind the garage and let the crew work on it and bring it back out on the track again. So Jeremy Poole, 1 lap down here at WatkinsGlenn, your points leader, also driving for the team that's at the top of the charts in the points. So Jeremy Poole in big trouble here at WatkinsGlenn here tonight.
Yeah, definitely not the week he's going to want to have after coming off that win at Kentucky. But again, the road courses are such a different breed. But some more great racing through the middle of the pack here, as we have Josh Hammett racing with the number 53 car as they now head into the bus stop area. So a pretty good race there going on mid-pack, not setting the world on fire for a podium or anything, but it's certainly is good when we can get some cars pretty close battling out, especially at WatkinsGlenn, where it takes just so much momentum and so much concentration to make sure that you can take advantage of all the straightaways and high-speed sections this racetrack has to offer.
And Michael Temple, guys, he was another one to look out for here tonight. He's also 1 lap down with Jeremy Poole. Same issue, guys. So something the crew put on these cars here tonight, possibly getting them from the same manufacturer. Major electrical problems for Temple and Poole. Both of those cars 1 lap down. Both had to go behind the garage, behind the pits, the paddock, and get worked on to be able to make it back out here on the track. So Temple and Poole 1 lap down. Looks like they're good to go to the finish, though.
Yeah, that will prove interesting. I don't think they're going to be able to make any magic happen, but hopefully they'll be able to get around some of these cars on pace, as they really do need that for the championship.
Ted Severn's up here in 7th position. He's running down Javier Torres. I believe this is Javier's first race with these boys here tonight too. Severn putting all kinds of pressure on him, going down into the bus stop here. Doesn't quite get it. Had the advantage on the inside, but wisely backs off the throttle. He's going to let Javier Torres have it, but just coming right back on him.
Yeah, this is a ferocious race, as Severn's really got right back on the rear of the car of Torres. And one of the things, Torres, there was almost contact going down the straightaway, as it looked like Torres just pinched him a little bit going into that bus stop chicane, and then Severn's was able to come right back in the next set of corners. So a great race here for the 6th and 7th position.
Bet heading into what I believe is the toe here at WatkinsGlenn. Now you might have to help me out with some of these turns here, Cowboy. I'll tell you what, WatkinsGlenn is not quite my cup of tea, but we're here tonight. But watching Ted Severn, looks like he's backed off of Javier Torres up here for just a little bit. Kind of recollect here, rethink and reconnoiter, and put the pressure back on Javier Torres. Down the front stretch they go. This would be a good opportunity here, but he's too far back, going down into 1.
Yeah, Severn's is going to be thinking, I'm just going to kind of hang back a little bit here. Torres, shows that he is not going to give up that position easily, even though, we're about, a third of the way through the race here. So we're getting closer to halfway. He's not going to let Severn's go, and he's going to make it real difficult for him as they head down the straightaway into the bus stop. So probably thinking that discretion is the better part of valor for the time being, and we'll wait to see if maybe those tires fall off a little bit and present him another opportunity to overtake.
16 laps in the books here at WatkinsGlenn, and I'm watching this chat room over here, and they're telling me that there is a bumper. That's that little thing right there on the back of the transmission, they say. Is there some kind of little bumper pad or something there, Sean?
I think that's the transmission. So there's a bit on the very end of the transmission, but you don't want to go smashing those up. You don't want to hit that, and you're going to knock the car out of gear, and it's going to be done. So I've seen that happen a number of times. So yeah, as they say, it's a rain light. Bill says an impact absorber, and all are true. But you don't want to go making contact with those things. You're going to knock your car out of gear, and that's going to be all she wrote. So and it's going to also probably tear up a guy's wing if he's not careful riding on the back of that. So yeah, definitely something to watch out for. I guess if you want to call it the bumper, that dog will play. So we'll let it go.
I'll tell you what, I'm watching John G. Hill, 8th position here now. He just crossed the start-finish line with a 0.73, 33.073 for him. Now, the guys in front of him, we're talking 32.840s, 32.746s. So John G. Hill turning faster lap times here at WatkinsGlenn. We're 17 in the books right now, 35 on the board. So John G. Hill turning some pretty decent lap times here. Dead ahead is Ted Severn's and Javier Torres. Remember, Ted Severn's duking it out with Torres up there for a little bit, but Severn's going after it again, coming through the boot.
Yeah, great racing action really starting to pick up as you start to have people reaching different levels of tire wear depending on their strategy. And it looks like, we almost had a pass on the outside there. So some aggressive racing here, but great stuff mid-pack as these strategies start to play out with the driving style. And it's just real good. It's real good stuff. So it'd be interesting to see some of these guys really start to pick up the pace and try to make up some of that lost time and lost points actually for the championship.
All right, while we're watching that action take place back out in front here, I'll tell you what, Jacob Dusmaris holding off Yerman Avendor at this time, and Nick Leap moving back into 3rd position, guys. So Nick Leap giving up quite a bit of distance.
Yeah, it looks like Leap's dropped about 6 seconds, about 6.1 seconds off the back of Jacob Dusmaris. Yerman is right there, 0.8 seconds. So it looks like Yerman's actually closed the gap a little bit. I don't know if it's Jacob trying to manage the gap or if it's just Yerman, running his race and running close. But, he's certainly closed the gap a little bit there. Looks like it says it's at a 0.878 actually. So yeah, he's running pretty good and right there actually.
Yeah, now it's just a few laps ago when, we were watching Nick Leap and Jacob Desmarais duke it out up here. And I think I mentioned the fact that, Yerman Affendorf sitting back there watching all that happen out in front. It was just going to be a matter of time. So move Yerman up one more notch. In behind him, Carlos, actually in behind Nick Leap, Carlos Passos, who is supposed to be a pretty good hand at these road tracks here tonight, having a good night. Still inside the top 5, running in 4th position in that number 2 machine.
Yep, Carlos Passos is looking good as well. Pretty tidy. So, top 4, I mean, really, when you look at the top 5, there's about 8 seconds between them. So it really could go either way, depending. But, yeah, I mean, Yerman's looking good. He's trimmed it another 1/10 of a second. One of the things you got to take into account here is that, while Desmarais was fighting with Nick Leap, both of those cars are taking a tire degradation hit. Vice Yerman, who's just kind of, chilling, watching it all happen and hoping that maybe something crazy happens. And now his tires may be in a little bit better shape than that of Jacob. So Jacob running a 132.1 last time around. And it looks like Yerman was at a 132.093, so about a 1/10 of a second quicker than the leader. And now they come up on traffic, so this may give Yerman actually a chance to overtake.
And we've got a couple of cars on pit road here, so this is it, Cowboy. Green flag pit stops underway. Andy Banfield on pit road as he gets 4 tires and fuel, and he's on his way out. Josh Hammett, Rob Unglinkus on pit road with Tim Miller as well. So green flag pit stops. Terry Matheson also sitting on pit road getting fueled up. 4 tires for him as well. 6.5 second pit stop for Matheson. 9.4 second stop for Tim Miller. Now these other guys, I want to say, it could have been a 2-tire change here. We're looking at 2.8, 3.2 second pit stops. So it could have been 2 tires change here for these guys. 19 laps.
I don't want to interrupt, JD, but here we go. We got Yerman Affendorf on the outside of Jacob Desmarais going into the bus stop. So a change for the lead. It looked like he just about lost it there, but he's back in control of the lead as Jacob now comes right back at him. So change for the lead on track. Nice job. And again, that tire preservation seems to have worked out so far for Yerman as he gets around Jacob.
All right, these two have not pitted yet. Jacob Desmarais and Yerman Affendorf. Carlos Passos has yet to come in for his pit stop. Nick Leap as well. So although we've had about 4 or 5 cars down pit road, Javier Torres making his stop right now. So green flag pit stop pretty much underway, just depending on when the crew chief calls them in and what their fuel strategy is for the night. We're hearing anywhere from 18 to 25 laps on fuel here at WatkinsGlenn.
Yep, these stops are unfolding, but I haven't. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna look at trying to get some fuel in the car, get those 4 fresh tires, and we're gonna see a real sprint race here, JD, as these guys come back on track and try as hard as they can to push and get those positions. And it looks like Jacob Desmarais has now hit pit road, so. Your second place car now making his pit stop.
As Jacob rolls into that first pit stop up there, looks like it's going to be 4 tires and fuel for that number 15 machine as well. So Jacob Desmarais down and out, leaving his pit box on his way back out. 7.5 second pit stop for Desmarais. Yerman Affendorf has yet to come down pit road, along with Carlos Passos and Nick Leap. And Nick Leap about four, almost 5 seconds behind Affendorf.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see Affendorf. He may, depending on what happens, he really may be able to to capitalize on Desmarais having to come in first. Nick Leap there, 4.9 seconds off of Affendor, and then Pesos 6 seconds, just about 7 seconds we'll call it, off of the lead car. So be interesting to see. Oh, we've got trouble. The leader is actually spun. He's back under control and hasn't hit anything, but he spun there, JD, on a relatively short part of the track.
Yerman Affendor in trouble here, guys, as he takes it around, and around it goes. Looks like he just missed his entry point.
Well, there it is. He come on. It looks like he may have just brushed the Armco, but he came off of that transition that I talked about at the beginning of the race, and that was enough to send him around. So again, you know, it's a tricky part of the track, and you really gotta pay attention to what you're doing. And now that puts Affendor in a real tough situation as he stays out this lap. You know, you don't want to lose too much time when you're trying to do these pit stops, because if you do, then all of that stuff that he is working, all that lead he's building, trying to get ahead of Desmarais is not going to matter. So he's going to want to make sure to just keep pushing, and that certainly will hurt him in the grand scheme of things.
You know, and he did an outstanding job saving that car. But you know, the only damage that he really did, Sean, was just you know, take a little rubber off the tires. But able to keep it off either side of the track, keep it clean, and not disrupt the or you know, ruin the body. You know, no body damage on it. So good clean spin, I guess you'd call it. Still keeping an eye on pit road. Carlos Passos and Yerman Affendor have not pitted yet. John G. Hill has not pitted yet either. Now we'll look for John G. Hill to possibly pull the same thing that he did last week, guys. Might be looking at a fuel strategy game here. I don't know, Cowboy, but John G. Hill almost had it in the bag last week at Kentucky Speedway. And he's still on the track now. Pretty much everybody has come down pit road except for our leaders up here, Yerman Affendor, Carlos Passos, have yet to pit. But we'll keep an eye on that situation as well. Carlos Passos on his way down.
Yeah, Affendor as well, now making his pit stop as well. So we'll just see what damage that spin did do to him overall in the grand scheme of the race.
And it was 4 tires and fuel for Affendor. He is down and out on his way down the access road, making his way back out on the track. And everybody has now pitted with the exception of John G. Hill as he comes down pit road now and rolls into his box. So it'll be 4 tires and fuel for that number 80 machine. In 6th position here at WatkinsGlenn. And Michael DuTemple also coming down pit road. Michael DuTemple, remember earlier, having some electrical problems with Jeremy Poole. Both of them having the same exact issue. So Michael DuTemple, 4 tires and fuel. He'll get back out too, but unfortunately he's 1 lap down, and it's going to be very, very difficult to try to make that up here at WatkinsGlenn. Yeah,
it's pretty much going to be the end for him. He's going to be looking at trying to finish, you know, at least closer to the top 10. But one of the things that we need to mention is that Nick Leap actually did get around Yerman Affendor there. So Desmarais is, looks like he's going to assume the lead, followed by Nick Leap, and then Passos, and yeah, I'm actually have lost where Yerman was. Yep, Yerman's right behind Leap. I'm sorry. So it's Desmarais, Leap, Affendor, and then Passos right after him. So good stuff, and all pretty close to the lead. So we could see within the closing laps another move for the lead, as Leap is 3.6 seconds off of Desmarais, and Affendor now 5.6. So that spin hurt him dearly, as he would be second, if not first, after his incident. So he's going to be really kicking himself in the rear end there for messing up that transition.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you what, we're about, we'll call it 10 laps away from the end of this thing. 35 laps on the board here tonight. 24 of them in the books. Green flag pit stops have been completed, so we're good to go to the end. Why don't we go ahead and step away? We'll take a commercial break right here, right now. You're watching it live with the Cowboy, J.D. Webb, and Sean Petchin from OpenPaddock.net. Don't wander off, Cowboy. We'll be right back.
Hey dude, are you ready to rock and roll? If that's cool, then you need to do it over at HD Radio Network. HD Radio Network, 4 stations broadcasting 24/7 with everything from metal favorites to the 80s classic rock like legendary Leonard Skinner, Electric Light Orchestra, Foreigner, and bone-rattling, skull-crushing rock and roll on hard driving radio. And partnered with Nuff World Simulation Gaming, check out the HD Radio Network's Nuff Radio with Bear Factory, Stone Temple Pilots, Def Leppard, and a whole lot more. HDRadioNetwork.com. Take your pick and rock your brains out, dude.
Oh man, we are back live here at WatkinsGlenn, and I tell you, if you could just stick a microphone back here in the back of the booth and have be privy to some of the conversations going on back here during commercial. But word to the wise out here, let's tell our audience right now that there are some heavy storms at the studio, and from where one of our guys in the booth, where Sean is at. So like I told Sean, hey, if the screen goes blank, that just means that John and Sean and Toto are on their way to Kansas, Cowboys. So hang on to your seat as we try to get through this thing. 26 laps in the books here, so about 9 to go here at WatkinsGlenn. Jacob Dusmaris, I tell you what, this Cowboy is heading his pony home, and he's going to pick up the trophy here tonight before long. Nick Leet putting up a pretty good fight. Been watching Yerman Appendor. He's probably the talk of the town here in WatkinsGlenn here tonight, Sean. Going back to that spin here a few laps ago, that set him back quite a bit. 5.9 seconds off Jacob Dusmaris out in front. But he's right there with Carlos Passos back here in 4th position as well. Carlos having a good night up here. Oh, it was the number 70 car. Rob Whitmore goes down a lap, having some issues coming off that turn. But Ted Severns up here in 6th position in that 32 car, pretty much running by his lonesome up here, doing a pretty decent job hanging on to a top 10 position.
Yeah, well, first off, I don't know if Desmarais can be a cowboy. He's got a French name there, so I'm not sure he's going to be the cowboy type. But that spin for Yerman, I mean, if you look at it, it probably cost him in the neighborhood of about 5 or 6 seconds. And if he would have not had that spin, we'd be talking about Yerman battling for the lead right now with Jacob, just as we've seen, about 20 laps ago. So, again, he's really going to be upset with himself about losing it in such an area where you have to take such care of the car because of the transition. But yeah, Desmarais has just put on an absolute clinic tonight as far as running pretty good. Consistent laps hitting the mark, but Nick Leet now 2.7 seconds off of Desmarais' time, so we may have a battle for the lead yet, and I'm not going to count Yerman out yet because he is only 5.7 off with still some time to race.
And John G. Hill back here in 10th position. He's actually lost about 3 or 4 position guys. Extended pit stop for him right around 23 seconds. Appears that there may have been some damage on that number 80 machine of his. John G. Hill almost taking the trophy home from Kentucky last week. Put on one heck of a show, but fell short, 500 yards short. But tell you what, having a good run here tonight. Still inside the top 10, John G. Hill running in 10th position. In front of him, and these guys are almost a minute and 30, well, actually about 30 seconds in front of, or 30 seconds in back of the leader. We're looking at about 1 minute and 30 seconds around this track here tonight. So John G. Hill, Tim Miller, and Javier Torres about 51 seconds, 53 seconds, 55 seconds behind the leader here. So they're significantly behind as far as that goes. But Jacob Damaris out there in front putting on a clinic, as Sean would say here at WatkinsGlenn for sure.
Yeah, great stuff, Desmaris. Not enough time, it looks like. Doesn't look like Leap has taken enough time out of Desmaris to become a factor. He may. I think. What was it? About half a second he took off this lap. Did I read that right, or I've got my numbers crossed? But he's going to want to definitely be pushing like hell now, because there's you've got about seven laps to go. You're going to want to be getting after it here. Affendor turning about 32 200s to Jacob Desmaris's 31 850s. So Yerman Affendor is going to have to kick it up a notch and see if he can't get that pony rolling just a little bit quicker here tonight if he wants to catch up to Jacob Desmaris. Now, wait.
Go ahead.
Nick actually just took a huge chunk out of time on Jacob. He's now only 1.4 seconds back, so he is going to be within striking distance of our leader before this race is over. We're going to have a dash to the line there, JD.
I was just watching that Nick Leap across on the line with a 31.695. So Nick Leap just laying down some fantastic laps here at WatkinsGlenn, chasing down Jacob Desmaris out there in front. But let's go back here to about 7th position back here. A couple of Lone Rangers back here, Cowboys. Let's start off with 7th position, 16 car, Josh Hammett. Staying out of trouble here tonight, but hey, it's a good solid top 10 finish here for tonight if he can keep it up. 28 laps in the book. In behind him in 8th position, another Lone Ranger, Javier Torres. Now, Javier Torres was up in the top 3 here about, I want to say about 5 or 6 laps to go, but Torres still having a decent night, top 10 for him, 8th position. And then in behind him, the 3rd Lone Ranger of the night here, Tim Miller. He's back here in 9th position in that number 19 machine, staying clean. So if they can just do that and get through the night, it'll be a solid top 10 for these guys.
Yeah, looking good for points there. Just want to collect points. Big shout out to my friend Andy Banfield in the number 3 running P11. Talked with him on Twitter. He was quite excited that I was actually broadcasting his races. So big shout out to you, Andy. Nice job on your P11 run at the moment. Good for some points. That time by, though, Nick Leap only taking another 1/10 of a second out of Jacob Desmaris. So looks like Desmaris has seen that Leap is coming with authority and decided to put the pedal down. But one of the things we're going to watch is some traffic. It looks like the traffic's been pretty good in pulling out of the way of these other guys, but it just doesn't seem at the moment that Leap is going to be able to do anything unless he can take another 7/10 out of Desmaris in a lap here.
You bet. While we're keeping an eye on that action, I'll tell you what, we got the side-by live going on the screen up there. The innovators of the dual camera broadcaster, you saw it right here first on ETV Live. We need to get a couple of plugs out of the way. Of course, the first one I want to do is my partner sitting right alongside the booth here with me. If you enjoy IndyCar racing, then join Sean Peachin and company with Open Paddock Live every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. You can catch Sean and the boys for Motorsports in Brief, Eyes on IndyCar results, and don't miss the Mazda Road to Indy updates, all live on ETV Live Tuesday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, I want to say thanks, JD, as always, for you guys hosting us hosting us on the ETV and the ETV Live Radio. It's a huge honor. We had a great show last night talking about Mid-Ohio with the IZOD IndyCar Series, and then the Firestone Indy Lights out in Trois-Rivières and north of the border with our friends in Canada. So great show, and a special thank you to everybody who watched the broadcast and sat through in the chat room. So much appreciated. Thank you.
You bet. And of course the race here is sponsored in part by Inside Sim Racing. InsideSimRacing.com. You get the latest on what's happening in your sim racing world by just tuning into Inside Sim Racing, InsideSimRacing.com. And of course Ted Severance and his group. This is the Simulated Stock Cars Association here, the SSCA, sponsoring the race here tonight, and a good one it is. We're watching Nick Leap, who has fallen back, Sean, now to 2.1 seconds behind Jacob Dusmaris. 31 laps in the books. We are on the downhill side of this thing here tonight with 4 laps to go at WatkinsGlenn.
Yeah, it looks like Nick Leap's charge to the front there is going to fall a little bit short. Seems as though he's losing quite a bit of time now. Desmaris is pushing for that win. He's just got to keep it out of trouble, keep running solid, consistent laps, and manage that 2-second gap for the next 4 laps or so, and he'll come out of here with a checkered flag. But it looks like Nick Leap fell just short, as did Yerman Affendor, and a great run for Carlos Pesos as well, and Russell Cleason as well. So all the top 5 doing a fantastic job. All within about 8 seconds of each other, and they're just doing a phenomenal job keeping these cars out of trouble here. The Armco, Glenn, as I call it. So as you can see, the Armco streaming around the track here. Much kind of looks, that much Armco kind of looks like a Monaco, just not quite as narrow. So obviously, and it's not a city street, but a lot of guardrails out there to watch out for, and you hit these rumble strips just right, and you're going to go right into that Armco. So be very, very careful. And Jacob Desmaris looks like he's doing the best, but Leap just took huge time out of him. He's now only 1.2 seconds back.
As Nick Leap chases down Jacob Dusmaris, and I'll tell you, I've been watching Yerman Affendor all night here, guys. He had that little upset here about 8 or 9 laps ago. Remember that spin here a while back? That absolutely set him back. Now 6.5 seconds in back. Even his lap times have fallen off considerably, with a 32.118 to even Nick Leap's 139.17. So Nick Leap pouring it on. He just got 3 more laps to see if he can't overtake Jacob Dusmaris up here, who has just absolutely been phenomenal here at WatkinsGlenn. Now Dusmaris has got some lap traffic ahead. The smart thing is going to happen here. That lap car is going to pull over and let Dusmaris have the lane as they come through the turn here and down the front stretch.
Yeah, it looks like Dusmaris puts another 0.2 seconds up on Nick Leap, so it looked like he was not very happy with that lap car. Kind of told him, hey, leader in the race, and I got a guy coming at me full tilt here. Get out of my way.
That's it. And I'll tell you what, pretty good race here tonight with these guys. I don't get to sit in the booth and call road races very often. I think this might be our second one together here tonight, or it might have been other Sean Pivick as well. Sean, unfortunately, could not be with us tonight. Usually he would be sitting in the booth here next to, as Jacob Dusmaris gets a wild turn coming through the bus stop there. But Jacob Dusmaris pouring the coals to that number 21 car, guys. I don't know that he needs to be doing that.
No, he looks like it's one of those things where it looks like he's really in the groove. He can't slow down. He doesn't want to slow down because it's going to affect his ability to complete the race. Sometimes it's best just let your driver go, as we've seen back in the late 80s, early 90s with such great road racers and F1 legends like Ayrton Senna. You can't tell that guy to slow down. Once he's got it full throttle, you just got to let him run the race. If you try to change his style, he's going to mess it up. And now it looks like Nick Leap is going to be about a second. If that, they come across the line, 0.7 seconds there. So now we got a real fight on our hands with just a couple laps to go between Leap and Dusmaris.
2 to go here at WatkinsGlenn as we watch the leaders up here, Nick Leap and Jacob Dusmaris. battle it out up here in the front, and that's pretty much the only battle on the track, guys. Carlos Pesos and Russell Clayson back here duking it out with a threesome. I think that was a lap car, but right here in 5th position, guys, Russell Clayson chasing down Carlos Pesos, who's in 4th. This will be for position as well. Don't know if that's going to happen before we come around for the final one. But working on the second lap around, next time around will be the white flag, and Jacob Dismaris will pick it up.
Yeah, he's just got to hang on, but I'm telling you, Leap's going to go for broke, I think. He's just going to push as hard as that car can go, and I don't even know if he's going to be thinking about the points, honestly, because he's just got him right there. I mean, as a driver, you see that lead car with just a couple laps to go, and you got the red mist coming in, and all you can think about is just getting to that leader and pushing like crazy, and Dismaris is going to be a little nervous seeing him that close. I mean,
yeah.
As you've seen with that onboard camera, I mean, he is just right there.
He is. He's absolutely right there. And I'll tell you what, in closing the distance here pretty good. It might be even less than 7/10 of a second, but coming around to pick up the white flag, this is it, Cowboy. So whatever happens, got to happen on this lap as they cross the start-finish line, down the front stretch, going into turn 1. Jacob Dismaris, who has been out here in front pretty much the entire night out here. He's been being chased down by German Affendor and Nick Leap here tonight. Nick Leap's got to position. German Affendor with some serious trouble here about 10 laps or more ago with that spin he took, just absolutely put him out of contention as Nick Leap closes the distance on Jacob Dismaris going through the bus stop.
Yeah, Lead doesn't look like he's going to be close enough to get it done. He's going to want to just keep, he may actually have just conceded challenging for victory and let Jacob go. He was, the best chance for him to get a run was coming down the straightaway into the bus stop, try to get that draft, as the oval people call it, or what I like to call the slipstream, going into the S's. He wasn't close enough to get it done, and he's not going to be close enough, it doesn't look like, unless an incident happens, to make a move as they head into the final section.
And I believe this will be turn 8 as they make that right-hand turn into turn 9. Nick Leap desperately trying to chase that number 21 machine down. Don't know whether he's going to make it or not. Jacob Dismaris just been putting on a clinic here, guys. As Jacob Dismaris going to pick up the checker flag here at WatkinsGlenn. Nick Leap with a solid performance here. Finishing second. German Affendor, who put on a pretty good show here tonight as well, with a third place finish. Ted Severns with a top 5 finish, 4th place for him, and your top 5 with Josh Hammett in that number 16 car. So I'll tell you what, Cowboy, what a race here at WatkinsGlenn. 35 laps later, Jacob Dismaris picks it up, and what a clinic he put on here tonight at Watkins.
Yeah, phenomenal race from Dismaris. Had a couple times where I thought it was going to slip away from him. Affendor really threw it away, but I don't know if he would have had enough at the end, even though he was my pick. Nick Leap just really shut that door and ran a phenomenal race. And a huge shout out to Ted Severns as he runs, albeit he's about 40 seconds back from all the action. But I mean, he ran a hell of a race, kept out of trouble. And I mean, just a phenomenal race altogether for Jacob Dismaris as he takes the win here at WatkinsGlenn. So no easy feat.
You bet. And I'll tell you what, as long as we got Sean up here in the booth with us, let's talk about another special deal coming up here. I believe it's going to happen on Tuesday. I think we settled on Tuesday the 21st, so you better be feeding your ponies a little bit extra between now and then. And this is going to be live on ETV Live just prior to the Open Paddock Live show. This is a duel here between Sean and I. It'll be in the Dollar IndyCar at Michigan Speedway for 10 laps, Cowboy. And we're just going to see who's who when we get done there. So you want to tune in for that. That's going to be Tuesday on the 21st. So, like I said, Sean, you better be feeding them ponies a little more oats in the next couple of days.
JD, I think my ponies are fed just fine, and I think you'll see that when I embarrass you and send you back to the director's booth, back to the producer's booth, with your tail between your legs like a beaten dog. And at the Indy cars at Michigan. I mean, do you even know how to drive those? Do you even know what an Indy car is? I mean, do you even know how to draft? I mean, it's going to be an equal setup, JD, and I'm telling you, I might just let you lead the whole damn thing and then slingshot past you on the last lap just to give you that special dejected feeling.
Well, Sean, when you're done with him, I'll take you on, okay? Because I'm actually the better sim racer between me and JD Webb. So when you make
God, there
I'll
we
take you
go.
on.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and dust aside JD, the light work, and then when I really want to take ETV over and make it my own, then I'll come after you, John, and I will. I'll make sure to put you back and keep you back in the director's booth.
Hey, buddy,
Where's
just
my
anytime you
boots?
want the keys, just holler. I'll put them in envelopes, send them to you.
Where are the boots? Jeez, will somebody please bring the boots up here to the booth? Oh, my God. All right, Cowboy, we're going to go ahead and step away. We're going to take a couple of commercial breaks here and see if we can't at least get a few people in here for a post-race show. So you're watching live, ETV Live. We ain't done yet, Cowboy, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hey dude, are you ready to rock and roll? If that's cool, then you need to do it over at HD Radio Network. HD Radio Network, 4 stations broadcasting 24/7 with everything from metal favorites to the 80s classic rock like legendary Leonard Skinner, Electric Light Orchestra, Foreigner, and bone-rattling, skull-crushing rock and roll on hard driving radio. And partnered with Nuff World Simulation Gaming, check out the HD Radio Network's Nuff Radio with Bear Factory, Stone Temple Pilots, Def Leppard, and a whole lot more. HDRadioNetwork.com. Take your pick and rock your brains out, dude. All right, welcome back to WatkinsGlenn here tonight in New York. And I'll tell you what a race, 35 laps later. Jacob Dusmaris putting on quite the show here tonight. Nick Lee, Yerman Affendor with a solid finish. I'm going to turn the mic over to Sean Peachin.
All right, well, joining us here in the booth for the press conference after the race here at WatkinsGlenn, we have first place Jacob Dusmaris with Slipstream Racing. We also have Nick Leap, who finished in second position, and I don't think I see Yerman up here just yet. So we'll go ahead and start with you, Jacob. Congratulations on your first place win here at WatkinsGlenn. It was a phenomenal race. Obviously, you led the most laps, really set the pace, but it looked like a couple of times you ran into some trouble with perhaps maybe some tire degradation as the leaders were able to close the gap and put on a fight. Nick Leap and Yerman were able to do that. Maybe walk us through your race.
It was a great race from my point of view, really challenging. It was good to have other people kind of pushing me the whole way, and I actually didn't really struggle with tires at all. I just ran a lot more downforce than I probably should have. I was definitely quicker through the second half of the lap, but the whole first part leading up to the chicane, it was much slower. So a few times when they got the draft, it really sucked up on the back of me, and Yerman surprised me so much by the pass on the left side there.
Yeah, Yerman certainly ran some exciting passes and then had his own mistakes. When you come to a place like WatkinsGlenn, a lot of people think that it looks kind of easy because there's a lot of straight lines, a lot of speed, but you do have to make that change between the downforce levels. We've seen some people run a lot less downforce and struggle through the corners. And one of the key areas was that transition from the boot to the NASCAR section of the circuit. Maybe explain the extra care that you as a driver had to take as you led the race to make sure not to throw it away in some of these easier corners.
Yeah, this track is deceptively difficult. A lot of the track is pretty straightforward, and really, I think a lot of people struggle with the chicane. But it's never been a problem for me. The places that I seem to have the most problems is that corner leading back onto the I don't know what you'd call the cup circuit, the left-hand kind of the opposite camber corner, and actually the last corner. I seem to run wide a lot there, which doesn't finish your race, but it does give you incident points. The first corner in this car specifically, I don't know if anybody else noticed, but if you hit the curb just right, you actually get kind of nosed up into the air. I've never felt that before in any car, so that kind of added an extra challenge.
Well, looking at the championship, Jeremy Poole didn't finish quite as well as he wanted to, but you were able to capitalize on the win. What do you think going forward? Do you think you've got a real good chance with the remaining schedule to make a push for that championship?
Yeah, I'm going to try to. Jeremy definitely had some bad luck tonight. I think there was a server issue as a couple guys dropped. But yeah, looking forward. I'm not as strong on the ovals usually, so that'll definitely be a challenge. I think there's 6 ovals and only 5 road courses, so I have to try to capitalize where I can, and I certainly did that tonight.
All right, well, congratulations. And joining us also, second place was Nick Leap.
Hey, Sean?
Yeah, sorry about that. Had a bit of a connection issue there. But Nick Leap finishing second. Nick, you had a fantastic run. Was running second place. Dropped back a little bit after an early challenge to Jacob early on in the race, but was there at the end and was taking some pretty good time out of Jacob in the last, I'd say, about 10 laps or so. Explain to us your race and how it all unfolded for you.
Well, didn't start off great. I had a really bad turn 1 and ended up losing a position before I got to the bus stop. But I got that back within a couple laps. And then I think Jacob had a couple second lead already at that point, so I had to chase him down. And then I actually saw that he had some trouble with the entrance back onto the cup circuit and the last corner. And I got side by side with him there, all the way down through turn 1, but then I hit the middle of the curb, like you mentioned, and I got nose up, had to back off of it a little bit. And yeah, that was basically my best attempt. I lost going into the bus stop then, trying to push a little too much as the red mist descended, and then at 5 seconds I really wish I got back.
Yeah, certainly. Definitely was calling in the booth that we definitely could tell the red mist was in full effect with Jacob so close. Now, the top 5 really ran pretty close together within about 8 seconds or so. Was there ever any real concern? You guys looked like you were running really clean out there with each other. Was there ever any concern with perhaps some overly aggressive driving or some of the guys in the top 5 really trying to make their push to get onto that step of the podium? I mean, because you were in the thick of that kind of 3rd, 4th, and then obviously second place battle all night. Was there how was the driving out there at WatkinsGlenn? And yeah, just explain that to us.
Honestly, I don't remember 4th position much, but Jacob and Jerm and I have raced a lot, and I knew they knew their limits, and I could safely race into the edge. I was more worried about myself.
Oh, for sure. But we look actually at the championship as well. You're 3rd in the championship. A great second place finish, and you're right behind Jacob, as you guys will probably jump to 1-2 in the championship. And also your team, which is Vapex Racing Red, had a good solid performance, as your teammate Andy Banfield also finished in the top 10. So how's it looking for your prospects for the Drivers' Championship, and then as well for you guys on the Team Championship as well going forward?
Well, for the drivers, I really needed a good finish here. I don't do as well on the ovals as I do on the roads, So for me to have a shot at the championship, I really needed to maximize these few road courses. As for the team, I think Andy does a better job than I do on the ovals, so I think that helps that we have a balance there between the two drivers.
All right, well, congratulations and a great job for you in your second place finish. Did we ever get Yerman up here? Okay, so Yerman's not here, but we do have Ted Severns, Big Boss Ted. You yourself, sir, had a fantastic run finishing inside the top 5, staying out of trouble there, albeit a little bit back from all the heated action there at the front, but a nice solid performance, and it was a really enjoyable race to watch as all the drivers seemed to have great respect for one another, only one accident. Explain your race and just the talent level that you have as well throughout this championship.
Well, I kind of had a bad start, and I had a hard time, what I always call getting into a rhythm. And I struggled in the beginning and got passed by a couple of guys, and actually kind of let them go by because I knew I wasn't in the rhythm, and it was a couple of my teammates, so I figured I'd let Russell and Chad Peterson get ahead of me. Chad actually did crash early on. And then I came into that inner loop situation and hit the curb and got the front end airborne a little bit, like both Nick and Jacob were talking about. And I just did a tank slapper to stay in it the best I can, which allowed Javier and John Hill to get by me. So I actually had to get by him, but boy, I got by John Hill, which fairly easy. But Javier was really tough. I mean, he was, after the S's kind of zigzagging back and forth, it was really tough to get any kind of pass on him going into the inner loop. And I actually made a little contact with him. I was on the inside. I was hoping he was going to stay on the outside. And we just barely touched tires, and I feel bad getting into him. And then I was fortunate enough with Russell and Carlos, I guess, got together and moved up into 4th place. But it was pretty uneventful after the pit stop, though. It was, but I felt good after I got into my rhythm, and it was a fun race. All the back markers were racing good and clean, and it was great. I do see Yerman, if you want to get a hold of him. He is up in the lobby right there. So. Oh, yeah. But it was a great race, and with Yerman being my teammate, us finishing 3rd and 4th, that should help us in the team championship for sure.
Yeah, one of the things that I did note, Ted, during your run with Javier, is it was very when you would go into the S's there, it did look like he was running and kind of moving lanes a little bit. Perhaps before we get over to our 3rd place finish, Yerman, maybe you could talk to us about the rules going forward and what this championship believes for blocking or for switching lanes on the road courses.
Well, technically, you're supposed to pick a lane, and you stay in that lane. So if you were on the inside and you pick that lane going in the back straightaway or straightaway, you hold that line, and the guy in the back gets to choose which one he wants. If he stays in the inside and somebody goes to the outside and the other person goes to the outside, that would be considered blocking. It is a fine line because there was a couple times I think he was doing it just to break the arrow. But there was one time for sure that it kind of went back and forth. But, you know, we'll talk about it and we'll straighten it out. It'll be cool.
All right, well, joining us now also your 3rd place finisher here at WatkinsGlenn, Yerman Affendor for Vapex Racing Team White, finishing 3rd place. And Yerman, honestly, we thought there for a second that you were going to be the car I picked you to win. I thought that for sure, you know, when you took the lead from Jacob, I thought that you were going to be able to hold on to it, and then you had an incident coming back onto the Cup circuit on that kind of fall away corner and spun the car, which cost you about 5 seconds. Explain what happened during your race and obviously the frustration that you have to feel after spinning out of the lead, basically.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate. Yeah, I also thought I had the race. I thought I was faster, not that by much, but a little bit faster than Jacob. Nick was definitely the class of the field. He was really, really fast. Yeah, I was like, there was this lapper. I was trying to get by him, and I guess I just got frustrated and spun the car. Anyway, good race. I had a lot of fun. It was nice. And at the end, I was just not really pushing. I knew I couldn't catch these guys. I lost too much ground, so I was driving very conservatively.
All right. Well, we were just talking with your teammate Ted Severns there. You guys both had a very strong race, third and fourth, respectively. What's this speak to for your chances at winning the team's championship and going forward, as you do have a nice, healthy mix of ovals and road courses?
Yeah, I mean, I think I personally started really slow. This is the third race, I think, and the first two races I crashed out. So hopefully going forward, we can remain finishing strong, both Ted and I, so we can win the championship.
All right, well, congratulations to our top three. Again, taking first place at WatkinsGlenn, Jacob Desmaris. Second place goes to very fast Nick Leap, and third place, Yerman Affendor. So fantastic job by all of you, and a race well run, and we will definitely look forward to seeing you at the next round of the championship.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
All right, and that's going to wrap it up from WatkinsGlenn, New York. But hey, wait, Cowboy, there's a whole lot more racing coming your way. Friday night showdown this week, Cowboy. And I'll tell you what, JD's coming. He's wearing both guns, and some say silver spurs. They jingle like church bells at a funeral, so you don't want to miss that one. 8:30 p.m. sharp, right here live on ETV Live. You can catch the pre-race show starting at about 8:15. So from WatkinsGlenn with Sean Peachin, Ted Severns, John Westling, and the whole crew here at ETV Live, we'll see you next time on ETV Live.